Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 185 based on novel. So let's start. Huan Dong's death was detected right away by the Huan family. As a great family on a main cultivation planet, a family member being slaughtered caused quite a stir. The Huan family's ancestor was furious when he heard this. However, his eyes suddenly lit up and he suppressed the Huan family's proposal to get revenge on planet Renun. Instead, he pushed up the date for the bloodline ritual. The family member who was killed was under Huan Mai, so after the bloodline ritual, let Huan Mai personally handle it. No one dared to oppose the Huan family's ancestor. Although everyone knew that it was the ancestor letting Huan Mai show her might, none of them dared to say more. This matter was settled. Seal planet Renun with a planet sealing formation so that no one can escape. Huan Mai will deal with this after the bloodline ritual. The moment Huan family moved, the sky changed colors. With the planet sealing formation, planet Renun was a caged bird. As for Liumi, after hearing that Hua Dong had died, there wasn't any change to her expression. It was as if the person that died was merely an ant. Liumi looked up at the blue sky and whispered, "Planet Renun. Is it a battle to show my might to the Huan family? According to Master, during the bloodline ritual, he will transfer me some of his cultivation. At the price of lowering his cultivation by 1 grade for 200 years, he will help me reach the peak of the late stage of Ascendant. As for entering the Yin and Yang stage, it will depend on my own understanding. After that, the difference between me and that man from Suzaku will become larger. In the later years, once I reach the second step and see that person again, I don't know what kind of mood he will be in. However, by then he will be an ant, just like that Huan Dong." Liumi faintly smiled. Her smile was very beautiful and would make anyone's heart skip a beat. A pair of guards that were patrolling by saw her smile and were both startled. Obsession and fanaticism suddenly filled their eyes. These looks were shockingly similar to Huan Dong's. The 10,000 illusion heavenly devil Dao can put anything in the world under an illusion. The gentle breeze blew by, causing her black hair to flow. She raised her finger to grab hold of her hair. Just at this moment, waves of fluctuations came from inside her bag of holding. Although the fluctuations were confined inside the bag of holding, they were filled with resentment. This resentment slowly filled up the bag. Liumi lowered her head and touched her bag of holding. The fluctuations inside lessened, but the resentment inside became even stronger. Liumi softly said, "Be obedient. You can't come out right now." She bit her finger, stuck it inside the bag, and then revealed a painful expression. The fluctuations gradually disappeared completely, and the resentment inside was forcibly suppressed. Why do you do this?" An ancient voice came from behind Liumi. The Huan family's ancestor slowly condensed and appeared. He looked at Liumi's bag of holding and frowned. "I've already told you before that it is too vicious and you shouldn't touch it." Liumi pondered and didn't speak. The Huan family's ancestor shouted, "Kill that thing right now and don't raise it anymore. If you continue to act like this, you will ruin your Dao heart. How will you get past the first step and get through the Yin and Yang stage?" Liumi raised her head toward the Huan family's ancestor and softly said, "Master, Liumi knows what to do. Please don't talk about this anymore, all right?" The Huan family's ancestor looked at Liumi. After a long time, he let out a sigh and said, Why must you be like this?" As for Wang Lin, the silver dragon was charging straight toward planet Yunxia. From a distance, planet Yunxia was dark gray due to a veil of thick fog covering it. It was so thick that divine sense couldn't pierce through it. In addition, there were bursts of roars coming from the fog, as if warning everyone who was passing by to not enter. The silver dragon brought Wang Lin outside of planet Yunxia and stared at the thick fog. Wang Lin's eyes lit up, then he slapped his bag of holding and a 7-star sword formation flew out. They began to rapidly rotate, creating a powerful, spiral force. Surrounded by this force, Wang Lin took a step forward and put the star compass away. He entered the fog with the 7-star sword formation piercing through it like a stake. The sword formation spun rapidly, pushing away all the fog before Wang Lin. However, this fog was too thick. Even with this method, the fog before Wang Lin looked endless. If one was looking from the outside, it looked like the fog had swallowed Wang Lin. Even if someone passed by, they wouldn't notice that there was someone rapidly descending through the depths of the fog. Wang Lin's expression was neutral. With the vortex created by the sword formation, none of the fog could get close to him. However, at this moment, his surroundings were completely grey and he couldn't see a thing. His divine sense was also blocked, so he could only rely on his instincts and continue flying down. After a long time, the fog before him gradually thinned out. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed and he immediately accelerated. He charged out of the dense fog like a meteor, and the scene that came into view before him caused his pupils to suddenly shrink. The sky was covered in dense fog, so no sunlight could get through, making the earth completely dark. However, this didn't affect the sight of a cultivator. The earth was filled with cracks, making it seem like there were many big mouths trying to devour everything. A powerful aura of death filled the heavens and earth. This death aura wasn't coming from one person or thing, but from the entire planet. The crack-filled ground was covered in these almost rotten tentacles that were slowly swaying. At first glance, it looked like the earth was covered in hair. This sight would make people's hearts become heavy and suppressed. Waves of roars were coming from planet Indonesia, and a majority of them were coming from underground. This is a completely wasted cultivation planet, Wang Lin silently pondered as he flew forward with his divine sense spread out, looking for the metal vein. As he flew, he saw the ruins of several cities. It was obvious that this place was once an extremely prosperous place, but everything was in ruins now. The tentacles from the ground were wrapped around the ruins of the cities. One couldn't help but feel their hair stand up when taking in this sight. As he silently flew across the sky, Wang Lin's gaze looked across the cities. At this moment, all of the tentacles, which were originally swaying, suddenly stopped. Then they all rapidly shrank back and disappeared from the surface. At this moment, a heaven-shattering roar came from the distant horizon. A red cloud that covered everything charged toward Wang Lin like crazy. There was a massive fierce beast riding on the red cloud. This beast looked like a dragon, but it wasn't a dragon. Its long body was tens of thousands of feet long and its head was triangular. It could be said to resemble a snake, but its whole body was covered in hair. As this beast roared and quickly rushed over, even the fog in the sky split apart as if there was a pair of invisible hands opening a path. When Wang Lin saw the beast with his divine sense, his expression changed greatly and he exclaimed, "Moongazer serpent." The ancient god had a very deep impression of this beast. Wang Lin sucked in a breath of cold air. Without a word, he immediately descended and went underground through one of the cracks. At the same time, the information about the Moongazer serpent from ancient god Tusai flashed through his mind. Wang Lin's eyes suddenly revealed a mysterious light. A Moongazer serpent isn't something born from nature, it's a unique parasite that lives in an ancient god's body. When an ancient god is alive, they absorb the blood of the ancient god to survive, but they can't leave the ancient god's body. Sometimes they were used like magical treasures by the ancient gods. Once an ancient god dies, the parasite dies as well. However, there is a rare chance that the Moongazer serpent doesn't die, but is able to leave the ancient god's body. The stronger the ancient god, the stronger the Moongazer serpent. All of the Moongazer serpents inside ancient god Tusai died, so they didn't appear. However, a Moongazer serpent appeared here. Could this place have the remains of an ancient god? But if that is really the case, this makes no sense either. How could no one in the all-heaven star system have recognized it? If a powerful cultivator saw this creature, they wouldn't simply let it go. Wang Lin was inside the crack in the ground, looking at the red cloud in the sky. The Moongazer serpent's giant body gradually flew off into the distance, and he began to silently ponder. At this moment, on a very ordinary-looking cultivation planet in the Alliance star system, two women wearing colorful clothes entered the capital of a mortal country. Each of the women had a ball of bright light floating above their right hand. These balls gave off a powerful killing aura. While the two women were floating in the sky, one of them shouted, "Situ Nan, come out here." A curse came out from the capital, followed by a man in purple rushing out. He didn't even look at the two women and immediately fled. Situ Nan, the sect master, has already given the order. You are wanted on planet Luanfeng and all the planets under it. You won't be able to escape. That man was Situ Nan. He was currently in a sorry state and shouted back, "Tell that smelly girl that if she keep forcing this old man, I will engrave the scene of her flirting onto 10,000 jades and spread it across the Alliance star system. Damn it, chased me for almost a century, it's so vexing. HMPH. The two women immediately fused the two balls of light in their hands. The balls immediately melted together and turned into the figure of a very attractive woman. This time I won't let you escape. The woman's figure took a step and raised her jade-like hand. The sky suddenly darkened and even the earth began to shake. The heavens and earth were quickly compressed. Situ Nan let out a strange cry and a flame seemed to burn inside his body as he charged out. Although he had charged out, he coughed out a large mouthful of blood and his face immediately became pale. Smelly girl, just you wait. This old man will make sure that all the cultivators and mortals in the Alliance star system see your flirty behavior. This old man will make you very famous in the Alliance star system. This old man will keep his word. Situ Nan coughed out another mouthful of blood and fled like crazy. At most I'll just go into closed-door cultivation again, you just wait. Situ Nan's eyes were bloodshot. He had already made up his mind to go into closed-door cultivation again. If he couldn't reach the Nirvana Scryer stage, he wouldn't come out. The southern part of Planet Thousand Illusion belonged to the Huan family. There was a deep pool there called the Illusion Moon Pool, and the bloodline ritual was going to be held here. The water in the pool had already been taken away by the Huan family's ancestor, leaving behind only a deep pit in the ground. He was currently floating above the pool with a very serious expression on his face. Below him were tens of thousands of Huan family members. They were all silent, the entire area within dozens of kilometers was completely quiet. Each of the Huan family members went up one by one to the edge of the deep pit and cut one of their arms to release blood. Once they released enough blood, their faces would turn pale and they would retreat with gloomy expressions. As the clan members went up one by one, blood gradually began to fill the deep pit. The dark red blood gave off a thick scent of blood that surrounded the area. The blood of tens of thousands of clan members wasn't enough to fill the pit with blood. However, there was still a lot of blood inside. The last person was the Huan family's ancestor. He didn't hesitate to cut his own wrist and let out a large amount of blood. He released the most blood, and his expression gradually turned pale. Eventually, he withdrew his wrist, formed a seal, and softly said, "Melt." With one word, a vortex appeared inside the pool and slowly rotated. The blood of tens of thousands of people was gradually merged together until it was impossible to separate it. The bloodline ritual refines the purest Huan family blood from of tens of thousands of Huan family members, turn that into 1,000 blood runes that will imprint on a person, and then finally extract all of the blood in that person's body. The Huan family's ancestor's eyes revealed a profound gaze and he said, in a serious tone, "Huan Mai. Stepfather." Liumi walked out from the crowd. Her white dress gave her a feeling of holiness. The Huan family's ancestor slowly said, "Enter the blood pool and cultivate attentively." Liumi nodded and walked toward the blood pool. As she entered the pool naked, the smell of blood rushed toward her. She frowned slightly but decisively stepped into the pool. As she continued to enter the blood pool, the blood gradually submerged her knees, waist, chest, and eventually completely submerged her entire body. Inside the blood pool, one could only see the vortex and not even a hint of Liumi. The Huan family's ancestor took a deep breath and then his hand quickly formed different seals. Many seals flew from his hand into the blood pool. A powerful aura began to pour out from him and slowly spread out. As he made seals faster and faster, the blood pool seemed to boil and the vortex spun even faster. After a long time, the Huan family's ancestor's eyes suddenly lit up and he shouted, "A long time ago, the Huan family's ancestor was a celestial of the Thunder Celestial Realm. Although the Celestial Realm was destroyed, the bloodline still remains. Today's bloodline ritual is going to refine the Huan blood so that one more person can be added to my Huan family's future glory. A complex spell came out from the Huan family's ancestor. The spell immediately turned into imprints the moment it left his mouth, then it entered the blood pool. Bloodline, appear, the Huan family's ancestor shouted, and the entire blood pool suddenly stopped. Then there was a loud rumble and the blood pool became a blood pillar. In an instant, the blood pillar collapsed, turning into blood runes that floated in the sky. Inside the pit sat Liumi. She was sitting in a lotus position with her eyes closed. The Huan family's ancestor took a deep breath, then his right hand formed a seal and he pointed at Liumi. In an instant, a wound opened on Liumi's forehead, and blood constantly flowed out of it. As blood continued to flow out, Liumi's expression grew paler. Just at this moment, one of the blood runes in the sky suddenly landed and imprinted on Liumi's body. Following that, a large number of blood runes descended and imprinted on her body. As blood runes continued to descend, almost every inch of Liumi's body was filled with blood runes. The Huan family's ancestor's eyes narrowed and then he took a step forward. He arrived before Liumi and raised his right hand. A mysterious light appeared in his hand. This light changed tens of thousands of times. Anyone who looked at it would immediately see all of the possibilities in their life, from being born to their death. All of the sickness, love, and hatred of one's life were all within this illusion. This was the Huan family's ancestor's Tao, the 10,000 illusion identityless Tao. He pressed his palm down on Liumi's forehead. The powerful Tao of the Huan family's ancestor directly entered Liumi's origin soul. At the same time, his own celestial spiritual energy poured into Liumi without any reservation to help her increase her cultivation level. The amount of celestial spiritual energy needed to reach the peak of the ascendant stage was extremely large, so no first-step cultivator could do this, not even cultivators in the yin and yang stage could do this. Only those who had truly entered the second step would have this kind of heaven-defying power. The Huan family's ancestor was a powerful cultivator in the second step. His cultivation level was early-stage nirvana scrya. Vast amounts of celestial spiritual energy and endless amounts of Tao fused together and was transferred into Liumi's body by the Huan family's ancestor. The Huan family's ancestor obviously cared a lot about this disciple and his intent for her to take over the Huan family. Otherwise, he wouldn't be willing to damage his own cultivation to help Liumi increase her cultivation level. Liumi's body trembled, then all of the blood runes around her suddenly entered her body and turned into the Huan family's blood. It flowed inside her body and forced out all of her own blood. At the same time, her origin soul started glowing brightly and was rapidly growing stronger. Early stage ascendant, mid stage ascendant, late stage ascendant, peak of late stage of ascendant. Jealous gazes came from the tens of thousands of Huan family members nearby. Their jealousy was reasonable. Ascendant was a powerful realm. How many cultivators were stuck at the ascendant stage? How many cultivators had to spend thousands of years to reach the peak of late-stage ascendant on their own? This Liumi had only taken less than half of an incense stick of time to reach many people's life goal. The Huan family's ancestor's arm shrank and he instantly became a lot older. He retreated a few steps, and even the color in his eyes dimmed. He looked at Liumi and softly said, "From today onwards, you are a member of the Huan family. The Huan family blood flows through your body. Your father need to go into closed-door cultivation now. During this time, you have to strive to reach the yin and yang stage as soon as possible." Liumi turned around and quietly looked at the Huan family's ancestor. She didn't say anything and merely nodded. 10,000 illusion heavenly devil Tao. This old man really wants to know what kind of change the 10,000 illusion heavenly devil Tao will have at the second step. The old man laughed and didn't seem to care the slightest about Liumi's indifference. He waved his sleeves and disappeared. The old man's voice echoed, "Go to planet Renun. Huan Mai, this is your first battle as a member of the Huan family. Slaughter a name for yourself." Liumi raised her head. She didn't even look at the tens of thousands of clan members. Instead, she floated into the air like a celestial. Her target was planet Renun. She didn't even bring any attendants and went alone. Inside the crack in the ground, Wang Lin withdrew his gaze from the Moongazer serpent. There was still shock in his eyes. This Moongazer serpent is tens of thousands of feet long, and its power isn't any weaker than Nirvana Scryer cultivators. If there are no ancient gods, then its offensive abilities aren't strong. As long as I don't take the initiative to provoke it, it should maintain its first form. Wang Lin pondered for a bit. According to the memory of the ancient god, these parasites that lived inside the ancient god had 3 forms. The first form was like the one that just passed by, it had no offensive capabilities. As for the second form, all of the hairs on its body would shrink and it would morph into various shapes inside the ancient god's body. This second form usually meant that it was sleeping. The third and final state was shown when it attacked. Their hairs would extend out and could reach up to the same length as its body. If one encountered a Moongazer serpent in that state, they should immediately run, or they would risk being attacked. As Wang Lin pondered, he went deeper into the crack. He spread out his divine sense, looking for the metal element vein. It is a bit strange for a Moongazer serpent to appear here. This is not a beast I can provoke, so it is better to ignore it and focus on finding the metal vein. Wang Lin's speed was extremely quick, and he continued to move deep underground. Soon, he reached a dead end, but he didn't pause, he charged into the wall. His body entered the wall and he continued to descend using the earth escape technique. As he moved, Wang Lin slightly frowned. There was a sticky fluid that kept coming out of the dirt around him. If it wasn't for the fact that he had his celestial spiritual energy around him, he would have already been covered by that liquid. This place is very strange. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and his divine sense spread out farther and farther. He sometimes felt some powerful fluctuations, and every time he did so, he would go around it. His divine sense continued to spread out until it had almost completely swept the planet. Wang Lin's eyes suddenly narrowed. At the deepest part of this planet he saw a metal vein that stretched for endless kilometers. This vein was deep inside the planet, with an end of it slightly breaking out from the ground on the other side of the planet. This was how the Huan family member had found this metal vein. Wang Lin frowned harder and harder. He didn't immediately move but began to ponder. If this metal vein was hidden extremely well, then it would make sense. However, this vein isn't hidden at all. Any ascendant cultivator that passes by here should immediately find it. There is something strange about this. Wang Lin carefully checked the vein, but he wasn't able to find anything. After pondering for a while, Wang Lin revealed a decisive gaze. He waved his right hand and tore apart the earth before him. Then he charged directly into the deepest part of the metal vein. It didn't take long before he arrived at the vein. What appeared before him was a huge vein with specks of golden light. The huge vein was like a dragon coiling around planet Yunxia. After pondering a bit, Wang Lin slowly moved forward. He felt like something was wrong. After seeing the Moongazer serpent, a cloud had been hovering over his heart. Why would the Moongazer serpent appear here? Why has no one taken the metal vein after all this time when it's out in the open? One by one, these riddles entered Wang Lin's mind. He stared at the vein and didn't make any rash decisions. Years of caution made him develop a habit of questioning everything. There were too many mysteries here. If he was careless, he might face unimaginable crisis. While suppressing his heart's urge to immediately take the metal vein, Wang Lin carefully walked around the vein. The confusion in Wang Lin's mind gradually grew stronger. In his opinion, this metal vein was a bit too neat. The vein was almost the same thickness from beginning to end. If it was a naturally formed vein, it would absolutely impossible for it to be like this. This vein looks more like long sections of bones. Thinking about this, Wang Lin's body suddenly stopped and his eyes revealed a strange color. As he stared at the vein, his heart was in turmoil. Bone? Could it really be a bone left by an unknown force and this is its remains? Wang Lin gasped. He couldn't imagine what kind of beast would have a metal vein as its bone. He pondered a bit before continuing to follow the metal vein. At this moment, the ground suddenly shook and Wang Lin immediately felt waves of fluctuations coming from all directions. All of these fluctuations were going upwards. Wang Lin condensed all of his celestial spiritual energy, and his eyes were filled with horror. His divine sense was still spread out, and he clearly saw countless tentacles coming out from the vein and extend into the earth. Finally, they extended out from the cracks on the surface and began to sway back and forth. Wang Lin was startled for a moment, but he immediately lowered his head to look at the metal vein. The strangeness in his eyes became even stronger. This scene is somewhat familiar. Staring at the metal vein, Wang Lin's eyes suddenly lit up and he muttered, "This place is covered in tentacles, which makes the entire planet look like it has hair growing out of it." The second form of the Moongazer serpent is when all the hairs on its body are withdrawn, so it is in a state of slumber. Could it be that? Where I am at, planet Yunxia, is an extremely large Moongazer serpent. Wang Lin gasped and stared at the metal vein not far away. This isn't a metal vein, it's really a bone. However, it's not a bone of any beast, but the bone of a Moongazer serpent. Wang Lin's heart became cold. If I had just taken the metal vein, I'm afraid I would have immediately awakened this Moongazer serpent. As a result, I would have died. It would be unlikely for this Moongazer serpent to completely awaken, but it would only need to be awake for a moment to kill anyone who tried to take the bone. Wang Lin finally understood why none of the powerful cultivators had come to try and take this bone. It wasn't that they didn't want to, but they didn't dare. I believe that others have come here before, but they all died. In a way, the person from the Hua family was very smart. He only took a bit from the surface and immediately left. If he had taken a bit more, he would have stimulated the Moongazer serpent enough to awaken it. There might also be luck involved. If it was anyone else, even a tiny bit could have caused the Moongazer serpent to awaken. Hundreds of thoughts flashed through Wang Lin's mind. He knew that he should quickly leave this place and no longer think about it. However, he looked at the metal vein and felt extremely unwilling to just leave. What I want is this entire bone, but the Moongazer serpent will completely awaken if I try to take it. If I do that, its body will change into attack form and I'll definitely die. However, I'm unwilling to just give up like this. Ah. Wang Lin let out a sigh and his eyes lit up. He recalled everything about the Moongazer serpent from the ancient gods' memories. There is no other existence that knows these parasites as well as the ancient gods. That is my advantage. This Moongazer serpent lives off the blood of the ancient gods. The tentacles are their most sensitive organs. What method can I use to take the bone but not wake it up? Wang Lin's eyes were filled with a mysterious light as he muttered to himself, "Back when I devoured all those celestial ascension fruits, I was filled with a sense of madness. At that time, even if someone took my bones, I'm afraid I wouldn't have felt it. If I can put this Moongazer serpent into a state of illusion while it's still asleep, perhaps I can then take its bone." Wang Lin pondered for a moment as he looked at the metal vein with reluctance and let out a sigh. With one step, he was already above ground, then he teleported in mid-air and reappeared outside of planet Yunxia. The star compass appeared and quickly took him away from planet Yunxia. From far away, Wang Lin looked back at planet Yunxia while riding the star compass. His eyes revealed a decisive gaze. I must obtain that Moongazer serpent's bone. I can refine the drug to numb the Moongazer serpent. However, I will need a lot of it to make this huge Moongazer serpent enter a state of illusion. If it was anyone else, even if they thought of the method and obtained a large amount of the drug, they wouldn't be able to make the Moongazer serpent absorb it. An ancient god's Moongazer serpent wouldn't absorb anything besides the blood of an ancient god unless someone used the ancient god tactic to command it. Only Wang Lin had the ancient god tactic. As the silver dragon flew across stars, Wang Lin sat on its back with a gloomy expression. This trip that had taken several months was a complete waste of time. He thought he would be able to complete the heaven-defying bead, but it turned out like this. Forget it. I have already waited more than 800 years, so I won't mind waiting a bit longer. As long as I obtain enough celestial ascension fruits to refine, I can just come back. However, I didn't expect to find a large Moongazer serpent. Just how many stars could that ancient god have had to carry such a large Moongazer serpent? And this thing has obviously been asleep for countless years, because there are even ruins of cities on its surface. Wang Lin's expression loosened and he began to ponder. This Moongazer serpent is in the form of a planet, so once it awakens, I wonder what kind of strength it will have. I'm afraid even Ling Qianhu, the All-Seer, and them would immediately flee in terror. Unfortunately, it won't listen to anyone but its master. Even if my original body was here, it would be useless. Otherwise, if I could control it and lead it back to Alliance Star System, wouldn't it be a joyous event? Wang Lin let out a bitter smile as he steered the star compass straight toward planet Renun. As the silver light flashed, he was gradually getting farther and farther from planet Yunxia. On planet Renun, the Ran family's ancestor, Carefree San Ren, and Sun 11 looked at the sky. Their expressions were deadly grim. Planet ceiling formation, Sun Shi's face was filled with bitterness. Carefree San Ren said, the Huan family would never do things like this. If they had the time to set up the planet ceiling formation, they would have already descended on planet Renun. The Ran family's ancestor pondered for a long time and said, I'm afraid that this matter was prepared for the Huan family ancestor's new adopted daughter, Huan Mai, to show her might. The Huan family wants to wipe out our three families and is using the formation to prevent us from escaping. Sun Shi's eye became cold. The Ran family's ancestor said, they won't be able to wipe out our families. In these past several years, the three of us have secretly sent the talented family members out of the planet. As long as they exist, our family's flame will continue on. Unfortunately, our roots are all on planet Renun, so how could we have moved our whole families in a short period of time? If we had moved too fast, it would have caused this matter to blow up early. Carefree San Ren bitterly smiled. Sun 11 hesitated and said, maybe fellow cultivator Xu Mu will make it back. The Ran family's ancestor gritted his teeth and said, HMPH, if he doesn't come back once the three of us are captured by the Huan family, I'll drag him into this matter. How can I let him take all those celestial jades for free? He promised to protect us but left at the moment of crisis. Despicable. Carefree San Ren silently pondered. Sun 11 let out a sigh and said, forget it. Even if he comes back, what can he do? The Huan family's ancestor has already reached the second step, so who can stop him? Rumor has it that the Huan family had two ancestors in the second step. One of them died in the fight for the Thunder Celestial Realm, so only one remains. Although he wasn't as strong as he was before, as long as he comes, then everything will be pointless. The three of them silently pondered. They were filled with remorse about the matter from 4 years ago. This was karma. Just at this moment, the Ran family's ancestor's expression suddenly changed and he exclaimed, they came. Sun 11 and Carefree San Ren raised their heads. They felt the danger coming from the sky, and their expressions became even more gloomy. Waves of fluctuations came from the sky as an almost endless pressure descended from above. Outside planet Renun, Liumi stepped toward the planet while wearing white. She spread out her divine sense after passing the planet ceiling formation and locked onto the Ran family's ancestor and company. Her expression was as calm as water as she slowly closed in. Brother Sun, Brother Zhao, the three of us have spent most of our lives fighting. Now that we have already settled all future matters, why not let the three of us go all out? Even if we die, we will die without regrets. Although his voice was low, it contained battle intent. As he looked up at the sky, his eyes contained a burning flame. Brother Ran is heroic. Since you are burning your soul, then let me accompany you. Carefree San Ren let out a laugh and a burning flame also appeared in his eyes. Sun Shi's eyes revealed a decisive gaze and he smiled. Forget it. To cultivate all my life means I'll dare to enter the heavens and scold the celestial generals. How can I back down now? Monstrous battle intent burst from the three of them like giant flames had suddenly ignited on planet Renun. An ordinary flame could create a signal smoke, 1. The roar for this basically means a smoke signal that warn enemies are coming. I guess the intent usage is to show battle intent created when an army see a signal telling them the enemies are coming. Although cultivators burning their souls couldn't create a signal smoke, they could create battle intent 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times stronger than signal smoke. This powerful battle intent reached its peak when Liumi's beautiful figure appeared. Liumi's body descended from the sky as she looked at the three of them and muttered, burning their origin souls. Her voice was very beautiful, like the spring wind sweeping past the earth. There was also a mysterious force within her voice. Carefree Sanren stared at Liumi in the sky. The flame in his eyes gradually dimmed and was replaced with a hint of fanaticism. This video will end here.